Chris Toriello, thank you for coming, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invite.
I sure appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
So we'll try to get this thing started. And what I'd asked you to kind of give me some information and that's the way I like to try to start these things is where
Sure.
I can just kind of read out and I can kind of read a little bit where people get to know kind of your history, where you came from,
Perfect.
what's going on.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna read through this stuff, and we'll start. So you graduated high school in 1988 from Asheboro High School.
I did. Blue Comet.
Blue Comet. We won't hold that against you, so we kind of do the tiger thing around here. Randolph Community College, 25th Basic Law Enforcement class, class leader certificate, 1992. After that, Randolph Community College, that was where you did your BLET.
Correct.
There. So, Trainings and Standards Commission, 2004. That was where you got your advanced law enforcement. That was all of those are through training standards.
Yes.
Through that. So, North Carolina Sheriff's Trainings and Standards, 2005, Advanced Law Enforcement Certificate. So Paul Cash Leadership and Management Program, you graduated that class 2018 at RCC.
Yes, I was class leader of that program too.
Yeah, class leader. Yep, Criminal Justice Associate Degree Program through RCC. Detention Officer Certification in 2017, Randolph Community College. And so looks like you started Randolph, let's see, you started out at Sheriff's Office, is that right?
As a reserve.
As a reserve
yes,
deputy.
the Sheriff's Office sponsored me to go through rookie school. Because back then you just had to be sponsored.
Mm-hmm.
So I got on with them and I actually started my reserve time in the jail in communications.
Okay, for people that don't know, tell us what reserve time is.
So reserve time, you're not getting paid. You're basically volunteering your time.
You're sworn law enforcement and you're volunteering your time.
Volunteering your time. Mm-hmm. Just like I started at the fire service. I was volunteering my time.
Okay, and so your first job was actually at Asheboro Police Department, is that right?
It was. Even though Randolph County sponsored me and I was a reserve, I had applications for full-time employment with the Sheriff's Office mm-hmm. and with Asheboro PD. And it just so happened Asheboro PD called first. Mm-hmm. And back then, that first phone call you get for a full-time job, you take. So I was happy to take that. And that was 92. I was
92.
Yeah.
So, and you're a SWAT team member there.
I was. We never had a SWAT team at the police department. Mm-hmm. So that was under the creation after I was there for a few years. Mm-hmm. Several others saw the need for one. My help to create that was I was a PT instructor, physical fitness instructor. Okay. So when we were formulating a SWAT team, we had to have a standard for you to pass to even make it onto the SWAT team after it was formed, which was physical fitness mm-hmm. and firearms training. So I was one of the founding members of the first SWAT team at the police department. So
you and some other peers helped develop
Absolutely.
The standard for that.
Absolutely.
That's still in existence today, I assume.
It is. It is. And then I became a full-time tactical officer with the Asheboro SWAT team.
Okay.
My employment with the Sheriff's Office, when I was employed there, I was on their SWAT team. And then I was able to be a SWAT team leader.
Awesome. So, and you were honor guard with Asheboro.
Once again, Asheboro Police never had an honor guard. So it was created. I was one of the first ones on the very first honor guard, which we went through training. Honor guard was a big part of it. And also, when I transitioned to the Sheriff's Office, they never had an honor guard. So me and a couple others, under the direction of superiors, created the first Randolph County Sheriff's Office honor guard. I was a founding member, and I was a member of that honor guard.
So far, founding member of a lot of new programs back in the day.
I like to be a part of any opportunity that either helps the agency or the people, and it's fun. Yeah. It's fun. The training's awesome. You get to do diverse things. If I saw an opportunity in my career, I'd put myself out there. I may not get it, but I put forth the effort to move forward, to do something different.
Something new. Yeah, that's good. So then, illegal elimination of drug dealers.
Yeah, so that was Asheboro Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
That the LEDD, Legal Elimination of Drug Dealers, that was a first-time uniform division that supplemented vice narcotics, and we would go to the hot spots or the drug areas and concentrate just on that. We didn't answer 911 calls. Our mission was supplement vice narcotics, help with surveillance, but it was to be seen.
Was that like a task force, or was that just like a dotted line division from vice and narcotics?
Yeah, completely separate new division.
All Asheboro PD.
All Asheboro Police
Okay,
Department.
good.
We had canines. It was a 4-man squad, and that's all we concentrated on.
Awesome. Bicycle patrol.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So first time ever. Back in that year, the police department was looking for community outreach. And back then, I was just going through GI school, General Instructor School. And my presentation to be an instructor.
Talk a little bit about that instructor process, what you have to do and what's the purpose for it.
Sure. So back then at the police department, you were eligible to apply to go to general instructor. The minimum requirement is you had to be there at least 5 years.
Who does these certifications?
To be a general instructor, you go through, I went through Davidson Community College, which is certified by the state standards.
Criminal justice training standards, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So after my 5 years, I applied, and as long as you were in good standing and you were recommended by a supervisor, you go to general instructor school. So my presentation that's required when you're in that class, you have to teach the class something new and go through the whole process. Well, it just so happened we just created the bicycle patrol. So I used that outline, and no other instructors even knew about bicycle patrol because it was so new to agencies back then. So I used that outline.
I think maybe is Asheboro the only department that has a bicycle patrol?
No, so now we're going back decades ago.
Right.
But it was new to this area. And
so there are other agencies now in
Yes.
Randolph that has it?
Oh, not in Randolph.
In Randolph, yeah.
Yeah, stand corrected. Law enforcement, yeah, they have bicycle patrols. And it was community outreach. We would be assigned a certain area in the city, and that's where we rode our bicycles because it makes it more approachable with citizens.
I remember seeing y'all.
Yeah. Plus, you get to stay in shape.
Yeah. Falls right in with all your PT stuff.
It's a lifestyle.
Okay, so then detectives, vice and narcotics there as well from 2002, 2004.
Yes, that was at Asheboro Police Department. That came. What qualified for me was working the lead unit, the legal elimination drug dealers unit, because then you get to work with vice a lot. So I got to work with that, and then when there was a spot open, once again, back then at the police department, you apply for the position, supervisor recommends you, you pass the review board, congratulations, you're a detective.
And that was because you have an extensive background in vice and narcotics and interdiction and things like that. So that was kind of your first, I guess, dipping your toe in the water for vice and narcotics.
It was, yes. And out of the 32 years, about 16 of that years was vice, narcotics, drugs.
So half of your career.
Half my career.
Okay. And then at some point you wound up, you left there and went to the sheriff's office.
I did. I was hired for patrol, and I spent under less than a year on patrol, just to learn the ropes. Same job, just different procedures. Of course, it's a lot bigger from where I came from, Asheboro City. And then a vice narcotics position came open. The sheriff back then interviewed me and said, with your experience, I'd like to have in my vice. I said, absolutely, sir. And so then I started Randolph County Vice.
Okay, so you started out on patrol first, right?
I did.
Okay, where'd you go from there?
Right from patrol, I went straight into the vice unit. I worked in the vice unit for about a year or so, and then the first time ever, again, DEA task force position came available.
So let's back up just a minute. Now, how long did you work in the vice and narcotics for the sheriff's office?
Total was 2005 to 2016. Those dates should be pretty accurate.
Right.
Of those years, I was DEA task force out of Greensboro for 10 years.
Okay, tell us how that works, how a task force works between, and most people know, but there's some out there that won't know.
Sure.
You know, how that works, where it's housed, and what the function of that is, and at what level.
Sure. So Randolph County Sheriff's Office never had a task force. And it came to light that we were getting one through the sheriff and other supervisors. I was asked if I was interested in doing it. I really didn't know what it was. I kind of knew from dealing with other agencies for the task force. So long story short, I was selected. I had an interview in Greensboro DEA office with that boss at the time. After that interview, we came back and I was granted to be on DEA task force. So your parent agency is who they give to the DEA. It was me at that time. And your parent agency gives you away to that federal agency, and it's a task force. Task force means team. It's one big team. You can't work drugs or any other crime unless you're all working together. So it's an outreach for manpower. It's a force multiplier in many instances. One of my main priorities was adopting local cases that our local agencies make and turn it into a federal case if it meets that criteria. So that I would adopt cases that our guys would make here locally. If it met the criteria, I can take that case and make it federal and then work it even longer.
Okay, so and for people that may or may not understand or may not know, is that more of an administrative role, or is that a hands-on, active investigation, investigator role, or multiple hats?
So it's multiple hats, but it's called the Drug Enforcement Administration because there's a lot of paperwork. We get that, but no, it's taking your local drug unit and times it by 10. Because I work the whole East Coast drug cases.
Okay, so if you times it by 10, is that you and the DEA, or is that you and Alamance and Guilford County and?
That's outreach to anybody that has a drug case. I was assigned, Randolph County is my parent agency, so my priority was Randolph County. Whatever Randolph County needs, we provide because there's more resources, technology available on the federal side. So I was a conduit.
And so other agencies would do the same thing?
Other agencies have task
and that
force.
made up that task force?
It makes up that task force, which there's more task force agents than there are full-time special agents with DEA because it's a force multiplier. And it's really a no-brainer because you have that access to those additional resources.
Did that while you were working that, did that give you essentially federal authority?
Yes, you're a federally sworn officer. The difference is you don't get the benefits because you're not full-time like a special agent. And you
got the jurisdiction.
We have the jurisdiction. Yeah, you're a federal agent.
Yes.
For all intents and purposes. And whatever that carries, you're a federal agent. Yes.
Awesome. Also, you alluded to just a while ago, of course, I'm aware, the sheriff's office, they called it an ERT team back then. I don't know what they call it, but it's essentially the SWAT team. You remember the SWAT team there and team leader, I believe you said.
Yes, I joined Randolph County SWAT team early on, and the credentials that I brought from Asheboro helped me get through that process. And then once I got on the Randolph County SWAT team, being a PT instructor, we incorporated physical workouts because you have to have a certified instructor in whatever discipline that you're teaching. So we incorporated that into the SWAT team. And fortunately, then eventually I became a team leader on Randolph County SWAT team.
So what is the, I guess, from a tactical leadership perspective, what does that role entail?
you're coordinating. You're part of the entry team. You're probably in the middle of the stack of people going in that room, and you're just coordinating.
So it's not an administrative role. This
Dude.
is an on-scene,
Sure.
like a squad leader per
Yeah,
se.
you're part of it as team leader. It doesn't matter your rank outside the SWAT team, because there is no rank on a SWAT team. Everybody has a job to do, and everybody's cross-trained to do multiple jobs. If one goes down, somebody steps up and takes that role, because you're looking for that work, you're looking for safety. So a team leader is usually in the middle. If we're going into a house, he or she is going to make sure, the doors are covered. Our objective is being met. If we have a target that we're looking for, the arrests are being made, the searches are being made. So it's just a on-scene live coordinator.
So obviously, physical ability, physical presence plays a huge role in those functions.
Absolutely,
It's
100%.
paramount.
Absolutely. And we're all at different levels. So currently, to this day, Asheville SWAT, Randolph County SWAT team, we'll just call it SWAT team, they have annual tryouts. And they also have assessments, which means if you're an active team member, you still have to pass the physical and firearms to stay on the team.
On the SWAT team.
Yeah.
Is the level of acceptance, is that benchmark to get in the SWAT team, is that level, or is that higher than what a BLET standard would be? Because now, years ago they didn't, but now they've got that PT standard in rookie school, right? Or BLET.
Correct.
How does that rank?
So each agency runs it their own way.
Right.
But I'm very familiar with Ashburn Randolph's, being a part of it, and even now still training. I'm still around a lot, and I see a lot of the training. So whatever standard that agency comes with is usually higher. In other words, for firearms, you have to be more proficient. You have to shoot a higher score for the SWAT team. State standard used to be 70. They've raised it for BLET as well. But also now individual agencies, SWAT teams, will raise that standard to a higher standard because a lot more is expected of you. Yeah. Same thing for the physicality. We're all different physical fitness ability levels, but if you can perform this task, you can make it on the team.
Yeah, and if I forget later while we're talking, remind me to talk about that, the proficiency, that shooting proficiency.
Sure.
Because I'd like to get your perspective on all that too.
Sure.
So Citizens Academy Director.
At the sheriff.
Starting in 2016.
So at the sheriff's office, at the time, the sheriff tasked me with researching, because he wanted a Citizens Academy.
No, what is that?
So it's public outreach. It's educating the citizens for free, sponsored by the sheriff's office, and they get to learn what actually does a deputy do? What does a police officer do? What are the differences between sheriff's offices and police departments? So it was a 9-week program. You meet once a week, the way I had it set up. And to fall back.
So did you develop this?
Yes.
Okay.
So to fall back under the direction of the sheriff, because it was a great idea. I took the lead. I was picked to do it. I researched it. I created it. The sheriff signed off on it, and we had the first ever, again, Citizens Academy.
I'm seeing a trend.
Well, if not first, you're last.
Yeah. I think I heard somebody say that one time.
Yes, and so that was a huge community outreach success, because then you get to engage with community members from all over the county. There's a little vetting process. If you had a bad history, we didn't accept. If you were 18 and above, you had a clean record, and you live in Randolph County, because we serve, come on, sign up. We'd sign them up. It was a fantastic experience for me. Being the director was awesome, because then you get to pick other instructors to teach their discipline. So back then, I picked the captain over patrol, and we had a patrol block for maybe 2 hours of the 4 hours. It was a 4-hour evening. And I'd break up different areas or disciplines. Every time they met, they'd get something new. SWAT stuff, patrol stuff, call volume. What happens with this? What's the most calls for service that we get here? So it was a wonderful way to introduce what we do to the community.
So, and that's kind of, they could take that information, take it back out to the community and
Absolutely.
say, hey, I understand what they do now.
Absolutely. And I'm glad to say that it is still going on at the sheriff's office.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you went, after that, you went from lieutenant to captain over operations at the detention center.
Yes.
I like to call it jail.
Well,
I don't know why.
Well, in this time and era, the detention center is accepted. But yes, I started at the jail. So yes, for me getting to lieutenant, I was a sergeant in vice narcotics with the sheriff's office. And when I was on task force for those 10 years, a lieutenant position at the sheriff's office was open. There again, I put myself in that position to apply for that position of lieutenant because that's your career ladder. And I felt that I want to do that. So I applied for that lieutenant spot in civil. I didn't know it was in civil. And I agree with that. A lieutenant spot came open. I applied, went through the process, was chosen for lieutenant. So I went to lieutenant civil. I left the DEA task force as a sworn federal agent, being a sergeant at the sheriff's office, to accept that promotion of lieutenant in civil.
So for people that don't know, explain what civil division is.
Civil division, think about suing somebody, think about evictions, think about domestic violence protection orders. The civil division serves all that paperwork.
They don't necessarily focus on criminal stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. There's civil law and criminal law. So the civil law is what the civil division serves, and a lot of it's paper service.
Okay, so you started out, you went from reserve to patrol to vice and narcotics to the detention center, and then now in the civil division.
The detention
No,
center
the
was
DEA and then civil.
DEA, then civil,
Okay.
and then the detention center is captain over the shifts.
Yes.
Operations captain.
Pretty extensive resume.
Well,
A lot of years in there.
It didn't end there, because then I was promoted to major.
Tell me about it.
So after captain of operations, which is over the 4 shifts that work at the detention center.
Tell you what, if I can, let me back up. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Just because it just popped in my mind. Is I remember seeing some posts on social media about seizures, money, drugs. How much of it? I don't have that in front of me. Do you remember those?
If I recall,
because I know there's a lot. I mean, over 16 years.
yes.
In 16 years, both the DEA task force and local vice and narcotics. I mean, it's extensive, I'm sure.
It is, and I probably forgot a lot. But in doing my research for being in the position that I'm going for here, so let's talk about asset forfeiture. That's where the money is. So DEA has an asset forfeiture program, and that essentially means if you seize property, if you seize cash, that is seized, taken. If it's property, it's going to be sold by the U.S. Marshals. A car, let's just say a car, from a case that we worked. That car goes up to auction, the government auction. Anybody can bid on it. Goes to the highest bidder. That money that is recuperated from the sale of that car goes back to all people that were involved. All agencies were involved will get a percentage.
So if there's 10 in that task force, each one gets an equal cut, or it's a percentage cut depending on participation?
If you're the lead case agent, your agency gets a little bit more percentage, just because you're the coordinator, you're the lead agent. But any agency, any agent that was part of that case recoups that percentage that comes back home to your parent agency. So when I said I represented my parent agency, Randolph County, I could be in Miami, Florida, making a case. When that case is adjudicated, and if there's any money coming or property, my parent agency recoups that.
And does that go back into the county budget, or does that go, say, for salaries, or does that go directly to the sheriff's office to be used at their discretion?
It's a special account. It's used for training and equipment. That's it. It's not in your line budget. It's a special line area that only asset forfeiture, training and equipment.
And so I'm going back in my memory bank here a little bit, but I believe there were some items purchased through at some point. I think maybe the command post, the Bearcat, and
Yes.
maybe some other stuff.
Yes.
So is that how that works?
That is
That's
exactly
what they do.
that's exactly how that works. In my 10 years, I give or take on the numbers, but in my 10 years, I was able to be involved with cases. It's a teamwork. It's not just me,
Right.
but I represented Randolph County Sheriff's Office. So if I'm part of a case, doesn't matter whose case it is, whose lead, doesn't matter. I think in that 10 years, I brought in roughly $3 million just from asset forfeiture, which did go to building the building of Special Operations Division, the actual building.
Okay.
The actual command post.
So was the $3 million post divvy?
No, that's total.
So you got a portion of that $3 million?
No. I brought in a total of $3 million in my 10-year span, just because of the casework I was involved with. Wasn't just me.
That was just Randolph County's portion of the big pie.
Over 10 years, I brought in $3 million to the sheriff's office. That money goes to training and equipment. Well, a building that houses Vice Narcotics Special Operations Division built that building. It built the command post, the big RV. It bought the Bearcat, the armored vehicle the SWAT team uses.
So that over that 10 years, that $3 million worth of seizures that you were involved in, those forfeitures, those funds went to purchase those items that we currently use now in Randolph.
Through the sheriff's office.
Okay.
So they would take the asset for. Back then, I used to have a hand a check to. Back then, it was the colonel. I'd physically have to hand a check. Years forward, it was all electronic. It would go through finance, the sheriff's office. They put it away in the asset forfeiture fund, which is strict on what you can spend it on, training equipment.
So how does that work from the forfeiture standpoint? If you're a member of the task force, the DEA task force, and for argument's purposes, we've got 10 more counties that contribute one person to the DEA. You got a 10-man task force. Then Randolph County still has a local Vice and Narcotics, and they're out doing their thing, and are those seizures, are they divvied up the same way, or do they have to take those and give those to you to run through federal?
Right.
How does that work?
Not that way.
Okay.
So the whole asset forfeiture program is a federal tool to do that. Now, there is local asset forfeiture. It's a different level, and it does happen. So, for example.
But the county don't get that percentage of money either, do
Correct. This is all for funding through the DEA, through the asset forfeiture program. So like I said, I could be anywhere USA working a drug case with other task force, other agencies, and if I'm a part of that case, I'm already included on the paperwork. Okay, if we're getting assets, here's how it's divvied up. Most of the time, it's about the same percentage for everybody. Like I said, usually the lead case agent, their agency would get a little bit higher percentage.
Okay, so if, let's say you have whether it's Ashboro PD or the sheriff's office, and they've got a Vice Narcotics unit. I remember over the years, they go out and they'd seize, 4, 5, 6, 8 kilos of drugs, and then they'd get $1 million in cash, 4 or 5 cars. So what happens with the cash in the cars?
Okay, if it stays local, there's different laws and just different ways of doing it. Prior to having a task force person representing your agency,
Federally.
federally,
Yes.
a federal task,
Okay.
they're all federal, and FBI has them, Secret Service has them, except IRS has them. It just so happened we went with DEA when it was formed. So what would happen is my local guys from the agency that I'm representing would call me and say, hey, we just got to stop. We got 6 kilos and $1 million cash. I'm on the way. If I wasn't already a part of it, I'm on the way. I'd go, we'd get their case checked, we'd see what the deal is. They would wind up ultimately charging these people locally because it's a local case. I then would go back to Greensboro and adopt that case federally. Now there's where the asset forfeiture kicks in.
So if the case wasn't adopted or the county decided not to go federal with it, do they still seize that property and money?
Yes, they call their proper charges on whoever, take the drugs obviously for evidence and the money cash too. Then now it's up to your local district attorney's office on how to prosecute or how to weave through that.
Yeah. So if they prosecute it, and I'm going into my memory a little, but if they prosecute it, it's adjudicated or guilty, they're not giving their money back. They're obviously not giving their dope back, and they're not giving the 2 or 3 cars back. So does that go to the sheriff's office? Do the cars get sold? And
Locally, a lot of times it goes to the school board, the Board of Education. We'll get that, which is fantastic. And that's a difference.
just where the money's divvied to. So statutorily, then the money, if it's seized locally, doesn't go federal, goes to the school.
Yes.
Federally, it can go back a portion
Unless
of
that's
it.
changed, that's how it was when I
Okay.
was on the job.
Okay.
Yes.
So, kind of going through your background and all of that. Anything else there you want to?
There's probably so much.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've forgotten more probably than what I've done,
Okay.
which I don't mean that to be jokingly or lightly.
Yeah. There's a lot.
There's probably
There's a
something
lot.
else that may
Obviously,
pop up.
everything that we went through, I mean, it's obvious, an extensive, successful background.
It was a unique career path that I had, and I love every minute of it. And that's why I'm sitting before you, because my career path is different than anybody in the field right now.
Okay, the pressing question. Your last name is Toriello. What's the genetic history? Toriello.
My grandparents came over from the Boot. The Boot is Italy.
Okay.
So my heritage background is Italian. My grandparents migrated to New York. My parents were born then, New York. I was born in New Jersey. So I'm Italian, Yankee,
So now let's get into taco. I've known you 30 years. Tell me a taco story, because I don't know it.
When I first moved here after I graduated high school, I was a park ranger at the zoo. And at the zoo, as a park ranger, you had to be certified EMT, emergency medical technician. So I enrolled Randolph Community College in the EMT program. Well, there is firemen, medics, and law enforcement in this program. So I met a few going through getting my EMT. I got my EMT, went back to the zoo. I joined the West Side Fire Department because that's the area where I live.
Which is a Randolph County Fire Department.
Randolph County Fire Department. Yeah, West Side Fire Department. It's the area where I live. I live on the west side. So when I joined, I met the firemen, and they just met me. Nobody there knew me, but I applied and was accepted in. And everybody had a tag name or a nickname, and they put it on the back of their fire helmet. So after we're going through this, after a couple of training days, a couple of the guys, and their nicknames today, back then, the nickname was Smurf. Another guy's name was Tiny. Well, those two
Was Tiny?
Smurf and Tiny, you could flip flop and it wouldn't make sense, but it makes sense when you're, yeah.
Okay.
So they were having a good time with me, funny, and they said, all right, well, we can't say your name. We can't spell your name, but Taco starts with a T, ends with an O, and it'll fit on your helmet.
And it's 4 letters. There you go.
And that stuck with me from before law enforcement. It was created at the fire department, and then answering calls for service with the fire department, whether it's medical or fire related, you're going to meet law enforcement. And I did. Then my lifestyle, I tried to stay in shape, so I was working out at a gym in Asheboro, and there was a deputy in there working out. So he remembered seeing me on one of the fire scenes or medic scenes, and we became friends. We started working out together. I did a ride along with him as a deputy. I did a ride along. I said, man, this is awesome. I said, I've already done fire and EMS.
Now, when you say a ride along, that's actually a non-sworn civilian riding with a sworn officer in the car.
Yeah, and most agencies offer that to their citizens they serve, and that gives a feel of what does law enforcement do? Let me do a ride along. So that's what I did with this deputy, and I said, why not? This is awesome, and that's why I enrolled in basic law enforcement training, and that name followed me to this day, sitting before you.
Yeah. So and I as extensive as your background is, I still didn't give you full credits because now I'm here in fire department, EMS, EMT. What you got there?
That was the start of it. It started park ranger, did my EMT, went to that class, met firemen, and then I met law enforcement, which led me to doing a ride along, and that hooked me. That training that I had beforehand, so the fire department's volunteer. EMS, I rode on a truck, volunteer, once again, as an EMT, and then full-time hire at the police department. That fire and EMS training did nothing but help me during my career from day one. Not just from the training aspect, but to apply real-life situations.
Yeah, because you're going to encounter that on the road.
Yeah, and if you're cross-trained, that just helps you, helps somebody else that much more. Or if you have to wait long for an EMS truck to get there, or whatever it may be.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you go looking at fire, EMS, school teachers, law enforcement, running a career through that stuff's tough. It's tough to run 25, 30 years through there. It's taxing.
Absolutely.
So why run for sheriff?
Because I'm young. I think that I'm mentally and physically capable of taking that task to where it needs to go. I think my entire career to this day, from when I started, has led me to this position. And that's my motivator.
Yeah, so it's just when you get right ready to retire, and it's like, I'm gonna kick back, I'm gonna enjoy my life, and you go, nope, I'm gonna run for sheriff.
I'm still enjoying my life. I've enjoyed my retired life for almost 2 years. This April will be 2 years. We're having a wonderful life. I teach basic law enforcement training. So that's still my nexus.
So you're still an instructor.
Still an instructor.
And still instructing.
Still instructing. Okay. General classes and specialized classes. Physical fitness.
For people that don't know, what is general classes and what are specialized classes?
So going back to when I went to general instructor school with Asheboro, and I started teaching in '97 in services, which is annual updates teaching for whatever agency you work for. Then from there, I was able to teach in the basic law enforcement training. That's the brand new cadets. They have to have this program, they have to graduate, get the certificate, and that qualifies them to apply anywhere in North Carolina as a law enforcement officer. So I started teaching general classes, which most of mine are specialized. So let me just get the specialized out of the way. Physical fitness, I've been teaching that since late 90s in rookie school. CPR, hazardous materials and explosives, that's also specialized. And what helped me get that to teach was my years in the fire service. It overqualified me to teach law enforcement because I had a higher level of training. But that helped me get specialized to teach law enforcement. Fingerprinting, see, I'll probably forget even what I teach. But that's the gist of it. To be specialized means, for
It's
example,
a specific segment of law enforcement training.
yes,
Rather than, say, elements of criminal law or
right.
something. Okay.
And then you have to recertify as a specialist. So for physical fitness, the recruits have to pass an obstacle course. And we train them for that during workouts. That's their goal. They got to pass this obstacle course.
So do they do PT on their own, or do you do PT with them?
A PT instructor is always there. I'm the lead PT instructor. And there's other instructors from the city and county here in Randolph that assist.
So this is like a daily or bi-weekly thing they do?
Their workouts are scheduled 3 times a week for 1 hour. And the goal is they're going to get them to pass that obstacle course. They have to do more than just 3 workouts a week to pass it. That's on their own time. But structured, yeah, it's 3 times a week.
So, and if you're the lead instructor, you actually have these other instructors that I assume you're responsible for curriculum content and make sure it's being covered and the whole process through that.
Correct. I'm in charge of the paperwork. There's a lot of paperwork involved, so I take that. And the other instructors, they love being PT instructors. And as long as it's PT related and they say what they want to do, and I check off on it, and we have a good time doing it.
Okay, so how would, so you went through your whole career, you're doing all that. How would you respond to, and I'm sure you all, I think you already have, and one of your opponents, they say that everybody else has been part of the system and didn't feel a need to run for sheriff while they were in the system until they retired.
Sure.
So,
well, at any point in my career, my goal was to retire. Mm-hmm. That should be everybody's goal. And I tell these young cadets early on, your goal is 30 years. Start preparing now. So when I did my 32 years, I felt wonderful because I made it. Not everybody makes it. I made it.
Small percentage actually makes it.
Small percentage. And it is worth every blood, sweat, and tear that I've gone through my professional career.
I mean, it's actually a phenomenal achievement for anybody that, like I said a while ago, can go through law enforcement, EMS, a teacher, fire service, getting that retirement all those years. It's pretty taxing.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. It's a calling. It's not just a career. It's a calling. And that's what gets you through it. Some generation differences in rookie school. Oh yeah, I'm just going to go be a cop. Let me skirt through this program and go get, be a cop. It's not, we all know it's not that. Us instructors know it's not that.
You either have it or you don't.
You have it or you don't. And to make it that 30 years, teacher, fireman, whatever, first responder, it's a calling. And if you're having a great time doing what you're doing, you're not working.
Because obviously, I mean, all of those professions that you just mentioned, you're not getting rich doing them.
No. You'll be comfortable. Don't get me wrong. It's a comfortable life. You're not going to be a millionaire by any means. And it's not all about money. If it is about money, you're looking in the wrong area.
There you go. What do you think are the primary responsibilities of a sheriff?
Well, there's 3 main ones. And that's what the difference is between the sheriff's office and police department. The sheriff, by statute, it's the jail. The sheriff is in care and control of the jail, care and control of the courthouse, care and control of the civil division. That's it. Patrol doesn't even have to be provided by statute, by the sheriff's duties and responsibilities. It just so happens, they do. But think about Charlotte Mech. Before it was Charlotte Mech, it was Charlotte Police Department and the sheriff's office took care of their responsibilities out in the county. Well, that stopped. They merged. Now the sheriff in Mecklenburg is courthouse, civil, and jail, not patrol. Charlotte Mech picked up that. Yeah. So those are the three responsibilities. Of course, patrol is a huge part. That's the front main line that protects the county and the citizens.
All right. Let's obviously extensive background in detention center. Talk about that a little bit. Talk about what it is, where it is now, the state of it, your ideas for improvement, things like that.
So when I was a reserve with the sheriff's office and even going through school, I was at the original jail downtown. It's not there anymore. I think it was train cars, box cars is what actually made that jail to where it was. So that's actually where I started. And I have several hundred hours. It was brought up a long time ago, not by a candidate. What's my experience in the jail? What's he doing as a captain or a major at the jail? He has no experience doing that. Well, I actually started at my reserve hours, hundreds of hours at the jail. You learn a lot, especially when you're volunteering your time. That means I wanted to be there. That means I wanted to learn. So moving forward, when I was promoted out of civil as a lieutenant, I didn't know where the captain's position was going to be. Just so happened when I found out if I would accept, it was at the jail. Okay. It was over operations. It was over 4 working shifts. Well, there's 4 working shifts on patrol. I'm used to patrol. I'm used to working shift work. So I said, okay, I can do this. I wound up calling a lot of people from different agencies that worked at the detention center to get ideas.
Yeah, okay, so right there, go through as many things as you can think of within that jail. For people that don't know, most people is going to say, oh, it's a jail, they got prisoners.
The detention center.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a detention center or a jail, it's a holding place for someone to be adjudicated. It is not a sentence after you're adjudicated. You go to prison.
Do short-term sentences get pulled in the county jail?
Yes.
What is that?
And a lot of times
do you know what that window is?
No, I don't know the exact window number.
Is it like 30 days, 6 months?
I do know that during my time there was people waiting on pretty serious charges that are in that jail for 2 years, 3 years.
But that's pre-adjudication, right?
Pre-adjudication, waiting on that trial.
What about if somebody gets, let's say, 4th offense DWI and they have to serve 60 days, 90 days? Do they do that there, or they send them to a prison facility?
They could do it at the detention center.
Okay.
And if it's a non-violent offense, a lot of times they'll eligible to be a trustee.
Tell everybody what a trustee is.
A trustee is someone with a non-violent background, and if they meet like a quick little interview deal, they're basically a volunteer that helps detention officers do their jobs. Whether it's mopping a pod, cleaning up, helping the cook, helping the serve.
For people that don't know, tell them what a pod is.
So a pod is a housing unit, and there's different pods for male, female is separate wings of the detention center, just to keep them separate. And then you have a maximum security area, pod, where your violent offenders or people that are under disciplinary for not listening to the rules and regs, getting into a fight, or if they're a security risk, or if they're a risk of getting assaulted.
So I'm sitting here listening already, and I'm listening as far as job responsibilities as the captain major at the detention center. I mean, you've got trustees, pretrial, post-adjudication, you've got male, female, people that might hurt themselves, and
Special needs,
so
medical.
you have to manage all of that.
Yeah, so as captain over operations, I was over the shifts, employees' needs, wants, equipment, scheduling conflicts. It was basically the daily operations of the shifts. Training, yes. Major is more administrative. You have to sign off on a lot of paperwork. That's granted. It's very expensive. Someone goes out on medical and they go to Wake or whatever outsourced hospital, there has to be agreements to that and signatures. So the captains there's an administrative captain and an operations captain. Administrative captain does a lot of the admin work that helps the major do that. But training is a part of it. I've been involved in training my whole career, so I was a captain there. That was big on my list. When I was major, I was able to implement some of my ideas I had as a captain. Because as a captain, chain of command, you answer to the major. And if that major doesn't agree with your ideas, then hey, no harm, no foul, I tried. But then when I was major, I was able to implement some of the training ideas that I had, and it worked out fantastic. It was in-house training, subject control and arrest techniques. You do it all the time in the jail. A lot haven't had rookie school or detention officer school in years or decades. So it's a refresher.
Like a research.
Like a research.
Okay.
So we started doing that. The staff loved it. And I felt great about it because I'm giving it back for free. It doesn't cost anything to train, especially if you train in-house. We had instructors come in. Here we are. Let's go.
So if somebody gets arrested in, let's say, in your example earlier, somebody's down in Florida. Somebody commits a crime here, they abscond down there, you find them, the officer down there finds them, does a NCIC check on them, they arrest them. Somebody's got to go get them.
Yes, if it meets the requirements that...
Let's say they go through that whole judicial process,
yeah,
and it says you can go back.
Yeah, if it's our case, if it's our target, if it's our suspect, then yes. Now, there are transportation services out there, private contractors, that specialize in doing that.
Does Randolph County use that?
Currently, I don't know.
Okay.
In the past, it has been used. You got absconders from a different state. If transportation was unavailable, you can contract this service.
When you say transportation unavailable, does Randolph County have a transportation division?
Yes, within the jail.
So that falls under the captains, majors. They have to work on that too.
Sure, yeah. A captain would be over it. A sergeant runs transportation, and transportation is every day. To and from the courthouse, to and from medical.
So I mean, I could just imagine a large percentage of the people in the detention center are pending trial.
Yes.
And can't make bond.
Correct.
And those people have to get to court.
Yes.
So for people that don't know, where's the jail and where's court?
So McDowell Road, if you turn on McDowell Road, it's New Century Drive is the road. It's past the tax department, which is also the main sheriff's office. And if you continue on that road, you're going to see a big building on your left.
So how far are the two from each other?
The sheriff's office and the detention center?
The courthouse.
Courthouse is downtown Asheboro. So downtown Asheboro to McDowell, roughly 5 miles.
Okay. So somebody has to, well, I mean, if you're the man at the top, it falls at your feet. All those people have to get to court.
Every day.
They got to get to court.
Every day.
They got to eat. They got to get back.
Every day. 3 squares a day. Yeah, every day. So transportation stays very busy. And it could be involuntaries. involuntary commitments that we have on. They serve that.
Again, for people that don't know what an involuntary commitment is, explain that.
If someone's a danger to themselves or others, that could be not taking their meds the way they're supposed to and they're not acting right. They can't take care of themselves, or they don't have family that can take care of themselves. A family member can go before a magistrate, say, hey, my so-and-so is off his or her meds. They're not acting right. They need help, and they're not going to go seek it themselves. So they have to get medically cleared. So if the magistrate finds this paperwork to be good and valid, that is handed over. Sometimes it's a civil division, sometimes it's patrol, but a law enforcement officer has to serve that on the person that is in decline. And it's involuntary because that person doesn't have a choice to seek medical. They are physically taken by law enforcement. They're not under arrest.
To protect themselves or somebody else.
Correct.
Because of their decline.
Yeah. And then he or she is going to whichever facility, and then it's up to the doctor to decide. Sometimes they're held up to 3 days, 72 hours. Sometimes it may be 24 hours. It's up to the physician to dictate how long he or she has to stay involuntarily.
Okay. So one of the questions that was sent in to me was just a general broad question was, as sheriff, how would you handle if ICE came running into Randolph County? First of all, do they do ICE detention now? Are there ICE detainers placed on? How does that work?
Here's my experience. Currently today, I don't know what they're doing. Honestly, I just don't. When I was there, either there at the jail or when I was in DA, we would put detainers on people. We could put a federal hold on a person.
What's the criteria for putting detainers on?
So for mine, this is not ICE. For mine, it would be a federal hold for me to get time to get back to Greensboro and do federal paperwork to arrest this person that Randolph County Detention Center is holding for up to 3 days for me to get down there, take that person out of their custody and go to federal custody. So it's a detainer. It's not an ICE.
But that
detainer.
has nothing. That doesn't have anything to do with somebody's immigration status.
No.
This question was particularly if ICE came here.
Yep.
How would you react to that? What would you do? And do we put detainers on illegal immigrants now for deportation?
No, we don't. Local law enforcement does not do that at all. Now, if there is a detainer, and this has happened in the past, I was a part of it. When we had someone in a drug case, let's just say, we charged them, they're detained at the detention center. Years ago, we would call.
Notify ICE.
Yeah.
That you have.
It was common practice. That's what it was. Hey, we arrested so-and-so. We're charged. They're incarcerated on hold. And then we would call, I think ICE, it was Winston-Salem office. We'd say, hey, by the way, we charged this person, check their status, because that was the process. And you follow the process. So currently, as sheriff, if we have an ICE detainer, or if ICE wants to research who we have here, well, A, it's public record. Anybody can Google the jail roster. And the agent can do that, him or herself. They go down and hey, Randolph's got a hot one here. We got a detainer on this person. If they call my jail and say, we're going to come take this person off the federal immigration law, okay, we'll help you do that.
So if ICE came into Randolph County and they said, we got a hit list of criminals.
Not a hit list, but it's a list that they already have paperwork on.
Yeah, is that like potato?
It's like the detention center and jail.
Oh, there you go. So they have their target list, and they say, here we have 25 people that are wanted.
Yeah.
And they all are in the county. What actions would you take or not take as a result of that?
As long as the law doesn't change, we're going to follow law. 100% follow the law. If the law says through North Carolina law that we cannot assist, I would have a problem with that, but we got to follow the law.
What if it was the inverse? If the law said you will assist, would you assist?
I would do nothing
And
more
you know,
than assist.
all that question that comes out of all this stuff from Minnesota and
I
all
understand.
that.
I would do nothing. I would be hesitant not to assist, even if the law says we can't assist. Because to me, just being the cop's cop, I don't care what uniform you wear, what badge you wear, where you work, where you come from. But we have to follow the law.
Would you agree it's right and wrong and good and evil in most everything in the world?
I would agree to that.
Yeah. So let's see what else we got here. To the degree that you can, because I know you've been gone from there for a little while, talk about. Now, I think you were retired by the time the new expansion onto the jail came.
Correct.
Is that right? Correct. So, do you know much about? I'm sure then you were responsible for probably the jail budget.
Yes.
Yeah. So, kind of walk everybody through kind of what kind of budget that was and how you would have to put that together.
Sure. So,
because as sheriff, you're going to be responsible for. You're going to walk into a $38 million budget.
correct. Yes, and I can't tell you in detail anything about that currently. I just can't. When I was there, my operating budget for the jail was roughly $9 million. That's the operating budget. We have special funding for medical. Medical is a huge cost, especially if they're outsourced. We pay for that.
Okay, so now
If they're going to get a surgery
okay,
at Wake or Duke because they came under some ailment or some physicality that they can't live with, they're in our care, custody, and control. We pay for that.
and you have to transport them.
And we
right?
have to transport them.
Okay.
And I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars just for medical.
Does that come out of the jail budget, the
It
detention
does.
center
It does.
budget?
It does.
Yeah, you got me saying detention center instead of jail now.
I'm sorry. I have an influence on people. But yeah, back then it was roughly $9 million operating budget. And I was over that. And I got to say, we were audited by a county tax agent from Randolph County. And she came down to do an audit. Long story said, she said, you were to the penny on your budget. It's never been that way, ever. Thank you. That's how we roll.
Physically responsible.
Yeah. Also, speaking about budget and money, I have to work with the county commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
They dictate where the money goes. If I'm asking for money, I need their approval. That's the process. I can just haphazardly take X money from X budget and do what I want with it. Why did I do that? Why did I do something that's not needed or help the employees and help the community? So I'm fiscally responsible, for sure,
Yeah.
personally and professionally.
See, there's always been, as you're aware, there's always been through municipalities and counties, there's always been this long-standing, unspoken rule. If you've got $10 million in your budget and the fiscal year ends the end of June, March rolls around and you still have 40% of your budget, we got to spend it. We got to spend it. If we don't spend it, we don't get more. What's your thoughts on that process?
I've loosely been a part of that ideology. In my younger years, working under different supervisors who were in charge of budgets, yeah, that happened a lot. Or I've also seen, if you do have excess that comes up, give it back because it makes us look good because we didn't need to spend what we had. I don't necessarily agree with that either. Don't give it back because you may never get it back again. So use it wisely when you have it and not for things that we don't need, that don't work. Sometimes it's trial and error. I get that. But if you're talking millions of dollars, you should have a game plan and a background on what this is going for, why is it going there, and what is it going to benefit the sheriff's office and the citizens.
Yeah. So are you familiar with lap salary, what they call lap salary?
Yes.
So let's just, well, for the people, explain lap salary for the folks that don't know what lap salary is.
That's going to be your leftover funds.
Yeah. So, if you hire somebody that's, the county commissioners put X number of dollars for an employee for 12 months. And let's say you don't get around to hire them, or you can't find the appropriate person until month number 10. Well, you have 3 months you're paying them, and then you have 10 months of lap salary. It's just leftover money, just like you said. Should that money, it's in salaries, and I'm sure there's equipment and training and stuff that goes in there. Should that money go back to the kitty to be reallocated for another approval, or moved over for, because obviously you could be, for the detention centers, you could have had 4 or 5 people that got sick and be in the red on a line item there and move it there. So would you be more for using that money, or if it's truly excess, sending it back from a salary perspective?
Right.
Strictly lap salary.
If it's an allocated spot, if we have it, don't lose it. Don't give it back, because we need that spot, and we need to fill that spot.
Well, not the spot, just the unused funds for the spot.
Oh, sure.
Because when July rolls back around, the funding's still there for the spot.
Yes.
So
yeah, I agree with that. Yes.
good. What kind of staff was there, the number wise, at the detention center when you were there?
93 total.
Okay.
That's everybody.
Okay.
That's everybody. It was 90-ish. 90-ish.
So in and I don't know how recent, but I'll say in recent months, there's been a rash of what's the correct term for it? Should we call them inmates or prisoners? And
Well,
I'm not going to be politically correct. So
inmates.
There's a number of inmates that were improperly released. I mean, it's not that they escaped. There was some, I don't know what that is. There's some error. So talk about that a little. And
It's clerical error.
Okay.
It's paperwork error. It's lack of paying attention to that paperwork and focusing on who you have before you as a deputy.
so how do you fix that? I mean, I can understand one gets out,
Slow down.
but 6, 7, 8, and there was one just recently. There was some back and forth on social media that one was let out, and it turns out that wasn't accurate. There was some miscommunication on what happened. But I'd say in the last year, there's been 6 or 7 acknowledged that
Sure.
how do you stop that?
Let me,
For argument's sake, you're sheriff tomorrow, and the 7th one got let out today.
let me backtrack just for a second.
Thank you.
When I was major, okay, we had one inadvertently let go by accident, mistake, okay? As major, I wasn't in the back a lot. As captain, I was. So it didn't get to me.
In the back, you mean back there
I mean in the back.
processing?
With whether it's the booking area, whether it's actually in pods with inmates. So when that happened, when I was major, I was unaware of it for several minutes because it went through chain of command, because I was big on chain of command. That was new to a lot of people. It works. It did work. It got to me a few minutes later. So I made some quick phone calls to SWAT team, any special division that was available, patrol, and the sheriff. I called these people first because we needed feet on the ground. We had to start getting a perimeter set up. And we did. Long story short, with the help of everybody from whatever division, he was found at McDonald's on 64.
And that's one.
One. That happened when I was there. Didn't happen again.
But we're at 6 or 7 now. So in your experience with what's going on, how do we fix that?
Well, let me go back.
And you're the sheriff.
Let me go back to how I fixed that as major. Slow down. The issue was booking is where you come in to the jail as an inmate, processed, fingerprinted, photographed. You're booked into the jail. That's also where you're released. You get release paperwork. And it's also where the magistrate is. So what happened on that instance, they were overwhelmed with inmates, people in that area, and all this paperwork getting shuffled around, and the wrong paperwork for the wrong person. It was the right paperwork for someone to get out, but it was the wrong person. And they went so fast without checking IDs.
And I can see that happening today.
It did. Well, back then, slow down. We have to slow this down. I don't care if there's 10 people waiting to be booked in. You can only do one at a time.
So, and you had mentioned earlier talking about doing detention recertification. Does any of that cover any of that administrative processing? Does it cover that, or is that just kind of an on-the-job training type thing?
Are you talking about the detention officer training program?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where we were talking about earlier, it's like every so often you would take your folks and they'd get recertified for like jailer school, they used to call it.
Well, and it just so happens, I don't know if we brought it up, I teach jail school.
Okay, no, we didn't.
Yeah, I'm also, besides rookie school, I teach detention officer certification course, which is jail school. I teach several different disciplines in that school as well. So to your point for the paperwork is typically in-house, on the job, learning and training.
So you got like a corporal or sergeant or somebody that actually teaches them how to do that, or
I can't tell you what happens now. Yeah, I don't know what happens now. We were just starting a field training program in the jail before I left. Mm-hmm. And I think it's still going on now.
So it's kind of the same thing as a field training officer on the street.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. But you incorporate it, and it's different responsibilities, obviously, for a detention officer than it would be for patrolman. So that's how I stopped it. It was lack of accountability. That corporal that may be over this booking agent was not either there or was doing something else. But when you start moving up in leadership roles, you're delegating, which gives you more time to oversee the process or what's happening here. I don't know what happened in all these other instances. I've read things, I've heard things. I mean, but I'm talking about my experience, what I did to fix that and to remedy that.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, just me, Joe Blow citizen, I'm looking out, I'm saying, okay, you're the sheriff. This, in just common sense, obviously there is a systemic problem somewhere when we let 7 people out.
Accountability, leadership, those two things ultimately are a lot of issues happen if you're lacking leadership or lacking accountability. And then you got to throw in training. If it's not being trained how to work the booking area or how to check someone in or out, if they're just rolling through the motions, that's what happens.
So, and I've heard some things, I've read some things, again, social media, which you know how that is, but staffing, it seems like it's harder and harder to get law enforcement officers, firemen, detention officers. Obviously that could play a role.
100%. If you're understaffed, and trust me, especially at the detention center, you got people yelling, screaming, you got noises going around, you got smells going around, you do have a job to do. And whether you're backing up HOD officer doing your rounds, or if you're at booking is tremendously busy because of intake and outtake. Tremendously busy area, paper intensive as well. And that's where mistakes happen. Usually, I don't know about these other, I'm going back on mine.
Right.
It was paperwork because there's a lot of it. And If there's a fight in front of the booking area or near it, that takes away officers from their assigned duties. And then throw on top, if you're shorthanded, it's stressful enough if you have a full shift, but it's even that much more stressful if you're short-staffed. The stress on the officer themselves, mentally and physically, they're stressed out. So retention, recruitment, that starts with leadership, because that's a leader, no matter where you are, a leadership, you're motivating people. As sheriff, I will motivate people. I will influence people. I do it every day at the training center.
So what would be some of the tactics that you would use to motivate and influence employees and things like that?
Well, if they don't know who I am, a lot do, fortunately. And not just because of this, because I've always been in the public eye. I've always been around people, different teams, SWAT team, honor guard, whatever, special divisions. The motivation is your attitude to begin with, my personality. I'm outgoing. I'll speak to anybody, have spoken. And now that I'm in this light, there's been so much outreach. Hey, you helped me get through this, yada, yada, yada. Years ago. Stuff's coming up now in the 90s when I wrote somebody a ticket and they thank me now because you were such a professional, polite person. So just me and my personality is going to help motivate people. My experience is going to help motivate, because if I say or do something, well, he knows what he's talking about. Let me give this a try.
Kind of from the perspective, well, he's been there.
Been there,
Is that
done
what you're
that.
saying?
Yeah, not everything.
Right.
And I'm not better than anybody else. I just have a different skill set, and I'm proud of it. And that motivates people. It motivates brand new rookies when they see me that just retired. And I say, I've been there. Or if I'll do a workout with them. That's a motivator. You lead by example.
So kind of how do you feel, or even if you do feel, things like honesty, integrity, truthfulness, trust, how does that kind of fit in? I mean, is that like a vital role, not so important? Or?
Well, trust has to be earned. So right off the bat, if you're the leader of the agency and you don't know half your employees, have you earned their trust? You have to get to know your employees, because if there's no trust, what kind of service from within the sheriff's office or any police department, whatever, if there's no trust within the agency, what are the citizens getting? And can the citizens trust deputies that don't even trust where they work or people they work for? So trust is earned. You have to earn that. You have to get out and know your employees, because if you have a weak employee base that just doesn't want to be there, but they are, the service is going to plummet with the citizens. And the citizens pick up on that.
People are smart. So what about the honesty and integrity that goes along with the office?
It should be a no-brainer.
Should be.
Should be. We're all not perfect. I get that. Maybe an example would be a deputy does something that he or she shouldn't be doing. Are they going to lie about it? That's a big issue. I'm not talking about just lying to me. If they're going through a process and they lie, that's not good for that deputy, because that's a value.
How you deal with it?
Discipline. I don't mind second chances on a case-by-case basis, depending on what happened. But if you lie during that process, you can't work here.
So one of your opponents makes mention that they're self-funded. They don't ask for any money from anybody. They don't, as a matter of fact, if they try to give them any, they turn it down. They're totally self-funded because they don't want to owe anybody. And I guess from that perspective, they are presuming that if you take funds from somebody for your campaign, that compromises you. That you will in turn have to give them special favors if they break the law or they do something.
I guess that's a different way of looking at it.
How do you look at it?
To each his own. Well, honestly, The majority of mine is self-funded.
Mhm.
My reasons are different. My reasons are, I don't feel like I should ask somebody for money to use their money to advertise me. I could advertise myself on my own. Having said that, there are people that are adamant, I have to contribute to your campaign. I'm not going to say no. That would be offensive. So
Understandable.
we do take in, but I'm not out begging for it or asking for it. I don't have fundraisers to
But
this point.
if somebody gave you $500 and then you got elected sheriff, and 2 months later, your deputies went on a call where he gave his wife a black eye.
Oh, he broke the law. That has there's two separate arenas there. That has nothing to do with protecting and serving.
So you're saying
Nothing.
it doesn't matter if they give you 500, 5,000.
You give me 500,000 for my campaign.
And it has no bearing whatsoever on how you will have your deputies treat them.
Here's how I run my campaign. Everybody that's at the core of my campaign doesn't want or need anything.
Mm-hmm.
Most don't even live here, or most aren't even qualified to be in law because they're too old. So no, I'm not looking. No, those morals and ethics. No, absolutely not.
So what you thought on chain gangs, taking your inmates and putting them in chains and putting them out on the street?
Wow, that's old school. If you're just using that to describe a chain gang, we have working inmates that we had working squads. The prisons do it.
Mm-hmm.
Randolph County Jail used to do it.
Is that like a trustee program?
It is.
Are they in chains?
No, they were not in chains. They were supervised. They were not in chains because you can't really do work if you're in chains.
Yeah, and I mean, I would only assume that there are some Eighth Amendment violations to the Constitution
I
on
would agree.
cruel, unusual punishment for taking. Then again, if it's a small number of people that's in the jail post adjudication,
Yeah.
then
No, that's old school. I don't.
So what about a work crew? What about an unchained work crew to wash cars, paint the courthouse, or
Okay, I don't want inmates touching our cars. Not that I don't trust them, even though they're called the trustee. Inmate has no reason to be around a patrol car because their intentions may look good, and when you turn your back, no. We used to do that at the sheriff's office.
and I agree with you.
And I had my patrol car washed by inmates. I didn't like it then, and I certainly will not implement that back as sheriff.
Let's go to the courthouse. Let's talk about the courthouse staffing, kind of that whole process, and your thoughts on it, potential for changes, improvement, or just everything.
Sure. Oh, you throwing it my way?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've never worked as a deputy at the courthouse or in the courthouse. I'm very familiar with the courthouse from making criminal cases, from going to see a magistrate. So, as a sheriff, the main priority about the courthouse is security. And I haven't been there in a while, but that's the main priority, is security and care and control of judges, attorneys, patrons, whatever. And that's also where transportation is used a lot, from the jail and the Sally Port to and from with inmates. So that's all security.
Okay, so if, like right now, we're sitting, I say we, Randolph County, sitting at a $38 million budget. So one of your opponents was advocating for, the number was 28 bailiffs working in the courthouse. Maybe we just use that as an example.
Okay.
So they were advocating taking 14 of them. These are the ones when you walk in the courthouse and everybody's getting checked in. You got 4 or 5 people, however many that's there checking you in, and I don't know the responsibilities, but they were advocating those people are gone and putting a third-party contracting company doing that, but leaving armed people in the courtrooms themselves.
Armed people being deputies.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. My fault.
Okay.
And so leaving the deputies, the bailiffs for courtroom security, wherever all those are. You know, the question that I had for them was, if we have a $36 million budget, are those people fired? Do we absorb them into the department in other open positions? And then the third-party contractors, that's an add to the budget. First of all, what is your thoughts on cutting that staff in half and putting third-party unarmed contractors?
No.
And
No third party would have any effect or reason to perform security at a courthouse that I would be responsible for. I'm all about reassignments, that's fine. But no third contractor for security reasons, especially at the front doors of the courthouse.
yeah, and enough said on that. So, the garage. What's your thoughts on the garage? Good, bad, indifferent?
At the sheriff's office?
The sheriff's department's garage.
Right. So I'm not a fan. Now that was created after I was gone.
Right.
So I have no details about anything. I'm not a fan, and here's why I'm not.
And I'll just tell you, one of your opponents he opposes it, and he opposes it from the perspective of sworn law enforcement down there doing mechanic work as a sworn law enforcement officer. So go ahead.
I can parallel that thought, which is, if you want to be a sworn law enforcement officer, you go through RIC school. You'll have these instructor. At no point are you being taught mechanics. They have a driving course. They have to learn how to inspect their car and make sure they can drive it. They don't work on it. So if you graduate rookie school and get hired to where you have the power of arrest, you wear a badge, gun, handcuffs, go out and protect and serve, you didn't do that to be a mechanic. If you want to be a mechanic, you can leave the sheriff's office, go to mechanic school, and go work for a mechanic shop. But if you want to be a cop, you're going to be doing protect and serve.
So I guess something just popped in my mind too is there, in your assessment, would there be some level of fairness as well? I mean, if you've got one deputy that's out here running and gunning and chasing people and getting punched in the face and making arrests, and then you got another that has the same, and I don't know how many, but let's just say you have multiple sworn officers at a garage, same benefits, same salary. There's a level of fairness as well.
Well, the unfairness happened because you put X amount of deputies over here not running and gunning. That's what they're trained for, by the way. I mean, that's...
Yeah. So not necessarily against the garage, just as well against staffing it with sworn law enforcement.
Well, to begin with, that was my first issue, was having law enforcement working on that car. And I don't know the levels. I don't know if they're certified to even work on cars. I don't care. I'm not a fan of the shop itself. Not for any other reason that we need to put that back into the community where there's certified mechanics that know how to work on cars, and give the money back to the community that funds our county. Give them the business back.
Yeah, enough said on that one. Okay, so also, let's see. Let's go to the sheriff's office itself. You
Okay.
said earlier, the patrol, that's basically kind of the backbone of what's
Front
going
lines,
on there.
front lines.
And so obviously that's a priority. And so um, there are a number, I don't know what that number is. I know there is a number of vacant positions at both the detention center and patrol. I don't know what's the reason why they can't be filled. Um, Obviously, we need them filled.
Yeah.
I mean, what would be, if you magically were sheriff tomorrow, what would be some of the initiatives that you would look at implementing, trying to, because if it's one of these things, we keep, when I say we in the public, I'm just a Joe Schmo public, is we can't fill them. You hear different agencies, we can't get folks, we can't fill them, we can't get good qualified candidates. You hear everything in the world going on. Greensboro Police Department, 80, 90 positions down, You're magically sheriff tomorrow. What are some initiatives you're going to implement there?
Yeah. So, and it is happening everywhere. It's not just Randolph
Mm-hmm.
County that is understaffed.
What do you think causes that, first of all?
Well, the term leadership comes into play, or a lack of, and then disgruntled employees because they don't know what the mission is. There's so many different things happening here, but what's the mission? If you work for us, protect and serve, that's why you went through school. That's what you want to do. It's not about the money. It's not about the salaries. You can't tell me it's a comfortable living. We already talked about it. You're not going to be a millionaire. It's a comfortable living. And if an agency next door to us pays $10,000 more a month, okay, well, yeah, that's going to be making more money a year. But is it worth working where you don't live? Is it worth losing your take-home car because you live in a different county and you can't commute to? That's a percentage of money. Take-home car. And I know most people have take-home car program.
So you think it's more of just kind of disgruntled, and part of that is,
I think the culture. I think the lack of mission statement, which is more than
direction, not having direction.
Of course, direction, and then accountability from the top and bottom. And if it's broken, if the chain of command is broken, if the mission statement is being misread by 4 different shifts, and you have 4 different shifts doing whatever they want, there again, to bring those people together, it starts with service. And if they're not being held to that service standard, all of it's going to fall apart because the community is going to see that. And they're going to pick up on, that's not a happy deputy. That deputy isn't even given the time of day. That comes from within the agency. So for incentives, there are several that I would like to name, but I don't want it to be copied. But it's about personal goals that you can reach as a deputy. It's outside training that he or she may get that helps you get promoted, a career ladder, achieving different levels of training and work in different areas to help that employee want to move up.
Okay, so how would you handle promotional stuff? I mean, we talked about integrity, we talked about people getting their education, getting special training, positioning themselves for promotions. I mean, because again, they're not making a lot of money. So you're looking at a promotion, maybe 5%, 10%. I'm not sure what that is. But then how do you address, because we know what happens. We know it's always happened. You've got Johnny that's got 8, 10 years experience and he's eligible for sergeant. But then you got Johnny number 2 that came in and he's got 2 years, and all of a sudden Johnny number 2 is sergeant. So how do you deal with that? I mean, we know that happens.
I know it's a fact that happens.
So
I've seen it.
in my view, that's partially goes to, you're talking about motivating employees, giving them direction. So how do you address that? How do you address that promotional process where historically, through many departments, people work? And again, experience doesn't, a person can have, I remember somebody said one time, you've got people with 15 years experience, and you've got people with 1 year of experience 15 times. So, and even with that said, some of those folks aren't necessarily candidates for a promotion.
Sure.
But when you have somebody that is a candidate and has tenure, and somebody that doesn't have tenure gets promoted over them.
Above that person.
So how do you?
Why is that?
So
is it based on merit? It's not based on merit. It's not based on time and training experience at all.
Okay, so you're sheriff tomorrow. What are you going to? How are you going to correct that issue?
Yeah. So I have a lot of police department history. The standards is different. Criminal justice standards, sheriff's office standards. They are different. They're the same, but there's some differences. I've worked for 2 police departments. Those processes differed for when I was at the sheriff's office. So I have that experience. I know there's a process, and it's not point to your it. Is what you just described as a 1-year guy get promoted over a 10-year person. Now that 10-year person, if they don't want to get promoted, you don't have to. Don't be part of the process. So the process, merit. It's based on merit.
So if they got 10 years, they get promoted over, they're a vacancy. First thing that comes up somewhere else, they're a vacancy.
Sure. Yes.
So it goes back to the honesty, the fairness, the integrity, direction, motivation.
Sure. And when I promote somebody, when they go through the process and that person is selected by a board, not me.
When you notify them.
Right. When I notify them, you know how many people are pissed off? Everybody that didn't get promoted. Mm-hmm. So that's good. That happens. We all know that. 1 person's happy, 10 persons are mad.
So let me ask you this. That scenario happens. In your view, is that okay that all of them are mad if you can sit down with them and say, well, listen, Johnny number 1, you're Johnny number 1. Here's what we looked at. Mm-hmm. Here's what the review board or whatever, mm-hmm. what they looked at. Here is where Johnny number 2 excelled above mm-hmm. you.
Yes.
Here's where you need to improve for the next round.
You have to educate on why you didn't get that spot.
And that goes back to you giving direction. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you didn't get it this time, keep putting in for it. You will get it eventually if you keep doing it, and set the goals, set the career ladder path. And if you achieve those, you just brighten yourself up to put in for it again. But you have to let people know the weakness and work on your weakness.
Okay, and again, one of your opponents, they said that if they were elected, every sworn officer that is in the sheriff's office performing clerical type positions, people doing concealed carry, registration, I don't know what all those roles are.
Sure.
That they said that they said there's probably 10 people doing away with those positions and filling them with non-certified law enforcement.
And again,
civilians.
Since I've been gone.
And you observe, and you'll have to absorb them into the department.
The sworn officers. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there again, since I've been gone, there has been positions that were created since I've been gone. I don't know every one of them. It is what it is. There is a role for civilians to help the sheriff's office. You don't have to be sworn for everything that you do with the sheriff's office. And I would employ civilians. If it's a civilian position, that's fine.
But what's your thoughts on eliminating those positions for sworn folks and replacing them with?
There again, I don't mind replacing people with a different job task within the sheriff's office. No, I'm not going to fire anybody. My goal is not to fire anybody.
Yeah. So you're against these, what you would call political firings.
All right. So here's my deal with the political, and we know it's a culture. I'm used to it. A lot of people are used to it. The only thing political I'm doing is trying to get elected. After that happens, I'm done with politics. It's time to work. So to me, that's the only thing I see political about this. I'm not going to be influenced by anybody. That's political.
So how can you assure people? Okay, we have heard for the last 5 cycles, 5 election cycles, we've heard people say, we've heard candidates. I'm not part of the good old boy system. Less politics, more service, and then we get more politics. So that goes back to honesty and integrity too.
Sure.
And it's
Sure.
just and who's believable.
Well, the believable part is yes, and trust has to be earned. I haven't said anything about that, politics or anything on our social media or even in talking with people. But I do tell them, yes, this is political because you have to elect me. That's it. Because I'm not a politician. I'm a cop's cop. I want to protect and serve, motivate, guide, influence from within, and get a better service to the community. And I will not be influenced. I have to serve all. As the office of sheriff, when you fill that spot, you serve the entire county, no matter where you live, no matter what your job is, no matter what side of the aisle you voted on. To me, I don't see that. I see doing a cop's work and having others fall in line. Here's our mission: protect and serve.
Think here now. What's your thoughts on tattoos, facial hair?
So
like
most agencies in the current, I don't know, past 5, 6, 7 years have a relaxed policy now for tattoos and facial hair. My experience, well, half my career I was allowed to do whatever I wanted because I was in drug world. So I've had several different haircuts, beards, mustaches, hair down my back,
And let me be clear, when
ponytails.
you say drug world, you're talking about vice and narcotics.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
jail, detention center.
Yeah, I know. They go hand in hand. A lot of experience with drugs in jail.
Yeah.
So that's a retention and recruitment deal right now. And it has been for several years because several agencies have lost good people because of their tattoo policy. One agency right now will allow you to have tattoos as long as they're covered up with long sleeves. Other agencies, if you have tattoos here, you can still wear a short sleeve because it's relaxed, as long as it's nothing offensive or whatever policy that comes with.
What's your feelings on both of those?
Okay, well, let me get to the facial hair. That historically came in law enforcement with No Shave November, which was to donate money to the cause of cancer, and you're allowed to grow a beard for the month. And then afterwards, you go back to your uniform standard. I like it for retention and recruitment. I don't think it's offensive. Now, for the tattoos, there again, as long as it's not offensive, you're going to lose a lot of people, or you won't gain people to apply there because they take to offense that they can't wear a uniform. A lot of guys we get, girls, they're military. They're proud of their tattoos. Okay, so we're paramilitary, law enforcement. So I'm all for the relaxed for tattoos. For the facial hair, I'm a fan of it. I did it when I was on patrol 4 years ago, 3 years ago, when I was on patrol working. I let it grow, not thick, not 4 inches thick in the uniform. I don't think it looks professional, but I am for facial hair. As long as it's neat trimmed, I don't know what policy will be yet.
Just set a policy and that's the policy.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
For the main purpose, retention recruitment. I don't want to lose good people. because they can't show their tattoo. And we can work around that. We can do the same thing. Hey, cover it up here. For the beards, neatly kept. Neatly is, I guess, objective, not 4 inches in uniform.
Yeah, so most of the time, like today, you're clean, you're squared away,
Thank you.
and so talk about uniforms. We being the public, we've seen everything from dirty tennis shoes with busted shoestrings to patent leather. I don't even know what they call them now, class 3 or something like that. I don't know what they are. What is your vision for a Chris Toriello Sheriff's Department?
You got to look sharp and be sharp. And how does the public see you? So look in the mirror. Go to your neighbor's house. Say, do I look okay? Let your neighbor judge you. That you're friends with. Let them give an honest answer. I think appearance is 99% of what the public is going to see when they call you.
Yeah. So I mean, are you let's say for the patrol division, are you a kind of boots, tennis shoe, cargo pants, whatever, carrier polo shirts, or are you what is? I mean, you know the different uniforms,
Sure. And I've worn a lot of different uniforms. I've wore shorts at work for bike patrol with a polo short sleeve shirt. So I get it. I would love for our people that work at the zoo, put them in shorts because they're walking around with the park rangers. It's hot out there.
Good point.
I wouldn't mind that. I did it on bike patrol. If I've done it, I can stand behind it and say, yeah, it works. There's nothing offensive. That's for shorts. For patrol frontline, look, there's different. Let's just talk about patrol, not a specialized division. Like interdiction, somebody has to be on their knees, searching a car on the ground, under a car. You need a little bit more
Good
movement.
point.
Talk about tactics. Patrol's got to look good. I'm not saying Class A long sleeve with a tie. It looks really good. If you're going
So Class A is
Class
the
A
tie,
is
the
suit
patent
tie,
leather shoes,
long sleeve,
Okay.
you're pressed, shiny shoes.
Okay.
If you're going to court, yeah, you're going to be wearing that. If you're on patrol and you're going to court, you're wearing a Class A tie. We got to look good. We got to look good. Courthouse people, they're already in Class A. That's fantastic.
Okay.
Jail staff, you got to get relaxed fit in jail staff. It's hot, it's humid. The environment will dictate what you're going to wear. Relaxed at the jail. Still a uniform. Patrol, same thing. I don't want them in a tie. They don't want to be in a tie. I didn't want to be in a tie when I worked patrol as the oldest police officer in Archdale. Third shift, 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't want to wear a tie. We didn't have to. We had open collar, short sleeves, outer vest. I love it, and it looks good. But you can't wear just whatever you want to wear.
Yeah, so it's a happy balance between looking good and
Functionality.
and tactical.
Functionality, tactical. But you can't just wear what you want to wear. If you don't have what you need, we will get it for you. Equipment-wise.
Yeah, so and I guess maybe one of the last things here that I was going to touch on was, okay, we talked about all your DEA stuff, but while we were talking, you had brought up that I guess you finished your career at Archdale.
I did.
And so one of your opponent's representatives made issue with you being terminated from the Randolph County Sheriff's Office, which I guess is what ultimately had you at Archdale finishing your career.
Yes, but that's a mistruth. I was not fired from the sheriff's office.
Yeah, so tell us to begin with, tell us about that and how all that.
Yeah. All right, so I was major at the jail. And the incoming administration was holding interviews, and I was told what day my interview would be. And I made my interview. I was waiting to be brought into the building, and somebody came out, said, "Hey, yeah, you don't have to worry about your interview." I said, "Oh, now I'm at work. I'm in full uniform as a major. Here I am. Oh, you don't have to worry about your interview." I said, "Oh, okay. Matter of fact, you're not getting sworn back in Monday." This was a Thursday when I was at work for my interview. I was told I'm not getting, just by a civilian told me this.
So this was after the incumbent was defeated.
Correct.
A new sheriff came in.
Correct.
And within a matter of a week,
4 days.
4 days, they said, "You're done."
This one person said, "I'm not being sworn back in." This was a Thursday. I said, with all due respect, I'd like to hear it from the incoming sheriff, because this was just a civilian. Well, if you hear from him, then you can have that conversation. I went home in shock, showed up Friday for work, and at the jail, I had my own office as major. I started cleaning out my office because I didn't hear from anybody.
As a major.
Yeah, I didn't hear from anybody, so I'm boxing up my stuff. Monday is swear-in day for the incumbent and all staff, and I'm turned in the rest of my equipment and went home.
That's pretty devastating.
It was a shock.
How many years at the sheriff's office did you have at that moment?
So I was right at 27-ish, give or take a couple months. If I had it
at the sheriff's office?
No, total in law enforcement.
Yeah.
I was 16 and change at the sheriff's office. So as we mentioned earlier, you want to make your 30-year retirement. If I had about 8 more months that I could have worked there under any capacity, work at the zoo, that would have given me my time in the system to get my full 30 years credit. Even with sick time, I could have got that 30-year mark if I was allowed a couple more months. I wasn't allowed that, but you know what? I moved on. I applied to Archdale. I was hired at Archdale. You had to be vested, which means you have to work there for 5 years before you can leave and retire. So I worked over my 30 years, which wound up being 32. My sick time equated to 2 extra years. So I got a total of 34 years in the system as far as how I'm being paid through my state pension. And somebody said that I did not retire as a major. Correct. My highest rank was a major, but the state pays me as major pay because the state pays you your 4 highest years of service.
Yeah. So is that something we would classify as a political firing?
I was never given a reason other than by a civilian, you're not being sworn back in. So I had to take that person's word. They were told by, I'm assuming, somebody high up, incoming possible sheriff, told this person to tell me that. I can't clarify that. I still don't have that answer. That happened to others the same day it happened to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't just me.
And so it affects a lot of people's lives in the long term. So,
No.
So knowing that, how's that going to affect you if you're elected as sheriff?
I think I mentioned it earlier. My goal is not to fire anybody. I will reassign. Mm-hmm. That's going to happen. I can't say that's not going to happen. Of course it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. It happens every day, no matter who's there. So I'm all about reassignments. I'm not about just coming in and firing somebody for absolutely no cause. Now, once I get there, if somebody does something that's a fireable offense, you're fired. You can't work here doing that. So having been the victim that we just talked about, well, I was able to take it and move on. No harm, no foul. Hey, I get it. Whatever. But I picked up the ball and I ran and got a touchdown.
Very good. So let me ask you this, because this just popped in my head again. So obviously, I mean, we're all human, and there have been and currently are deputies that are sworn that have been arrested for DWI, and they have been hired as a deputy. Is there a number for you? One of your opponents said, for them, they said 7 years. Is there a number if first of all, obviously, if a guy's working for you and he gets a DWI, he's gone. I mean, he can't function in his role, he's gone. So let's say that there's a guy, works for another agency, works for Greensboro, he gets a DWI, gets his license revoked, he blows an 8, he gets his license back, and he comes up, wants a job. Does he get one at 12 months, or is it 24? Is it 36?
I can't put a number on that.
Right.
To me, to put a hard number on anybody, I'm all about second chances, and it's a case by case.
So it's an individual thing. You look at them and you make a determination whether they have problems or no problems, or.
Of course. And also, as far as being certified, the state holds everybody's certification.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few red flags that if you violate this crime, the state immediately revokes you being a sworn officer, which has nothing to do with the sheriff or chief of police. So if it's any one of those, obviously they can't even hold through standards to be a law enforcement officer. There are others where the state will suspend a law enforcement officer's credentials. That has nothing to do with the sheriff or chief.
Just makes them unhireable.
Makes them unhireable, sure. But there again, I'm all about second chances, and it's case by case. Mm-hmm. So I can't put a number on that.
And just like we talked before we came out here, we're all human. Sure. We're all human.
We all have a past.
One perfect person, that's Jesus. Mm-hmm. And so, all right, can you think of anything that I haven't asked you that I should?
Why did I agree to do this? Why did I agree to do this? I'll tell you why. I was invited. I love the concept and the idea of this. A formal live debate did not happen for whatever reason. I think this is a great thing to do. Even if we did have a debate, this is still a wonderful idea. I'm glad to be a part of it. It has nothing to do with politics. I'm just talking about me, myself, experience. And I hope this actually garners some support for me. Yeah. Because they're seeing a different angle.
It is my vision for this is out of frustration. And you know, we can talk about this some other time, but my vision for this is I don't like, for me, it's just my personal preference, I don't like debates because they're typically skewed to one side or the other. Questions are tailored for a particular favored candidate. You don't get enough time to, like we are, sit here and just talk, two men.
Sure.
And we're asking hard questions. What are we going to do? I think this is a way for people to really see Chris Toriello and say, okay, I see some things about him they would have never seen in a debate.
No.
You wouldn't have had an opportunity to say all those things.
Absolutely not.
And nobody's going to ask you, these things. That's why I want to do these things. It may turn out to be good. It may turn out to be bad. I don't know. Our heart's in the right place, and we want to try to do what's right.
Yeah.
So the last thing, and it might be the hardest question, or the hardest request. I want you to take all three of your opponents.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me what you like most about them, what they've done, what they do, or anything.
Personally, professionally?
Anyway.
Yeah, so one of them I know pretty well. I worked side by side with him in Vice for 10 plus years. We had a lot of good times together. This is not personal. Me running for this office is not personal against any candidate. I spoke of this at the GOP breakfast. I'm not running against these other candidates. I'm running for the office of sheriff. And that means I'm selling myself to the people. And it's that simple. I have nothing against any of these candidates or the incumbent. Nothing personal. Zero. I have a different way of living my life, and my experience is completely different for many of them. But so I know one well, I know another one.
And this isn't a question I'm just asking you.
I love it.
I end all 4 interviews with, with that question.
I love it. I know another candidate. I spoke to him a lot over the years. I've used his business.
Okay, well, let's go back to the first one. Now, what was it that you said that you like about them? Something favorable about them that you like?
Well, the one person I'm talking about, who I worked with Vice, we got along so great because you have to. It's teamwork. So I like that part of it, and he helped me on a lot of things. So I think things have turned different now that we're all in this political race. The other one I like he has a good business, and I was impressed with the service and attitude that we received. So I like that about him. And the other one, the likes are, I hope he's making this easy for me to get elected. No, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I hope everybody else does. And look at us, listen to us, and make your decisions. It's all about you. It's not about me.
Chris, I can't tell you how much I thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
The best luck in the world to you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you very much.
All right.